to day 4 of Mini Winterfest, my December series where I build a tiny home or community lot every day throughout December, every weekday, sorry, throughout December. So today I am building a small Dutch colonial cottage in Brindleton Bay. I wanted this to look very similar to the rest of the builds in this world, and I think I did a pretty good job in trying to recreate that. I've deleted all of the other builds in this little neighborhood, so I was going off of the live edit buildings that are around. So I think I did okay. I did a very similar thing that I did with, I think it was my last video, where I kind of changed the height of this little room with the half walls and then moved the roof over from an elevated disconnected piece. I wanted the look of it to be like a smaller piece of roof, if that makes sense, like a smaller room, but it's not actually functional, so it's just for, you know, decorative purposes. So this one is a limited pack build. It uses Seasons, Cats and Dogs, Parenthood and Dream Home Decorator. It's a 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom cottage. The bathrooms are both full bathrooms, and it will probably be suitable for 2, 3, maybe 4 sims. There is a bunk bed upstairs, but I've only used like the top bunk, and then there's a desk underneath, but you could change that to another single bed and then have this as, you know, a 4-sim house. It's quite small, but I think it's pretty cute. I really wanted to use this wood siding from Seasons. I've used some of the swatches before, but I don't think I've ever used this green one, so I thought I would make the most of it. I really like it, and I think it just gives it more of like a rustic kind of look. I think it would be nice to have as maybe a rental cabin in this world, or even in Granite Falls. I think that would be nice if you have outdoor retreat. So the inside of this house is more on the colourful side. I've used quite a lot of pastel colours, mostly from Dream Home Decorator. I've used like the yellow sofa, and I've used a nice like mint green for the bed, and then in the child's room upstairs it's kind of yellow and pink. And the main bedroom, the double bedroom downstairs in this house, is probably my favourite bedroom that I've ever decorated. I don't know why, it just looks cozy and just kind of more my style. There's like a little built-in wardrobe in there, and then I've put quite a lot of units around the bed to kind of create like a built-in kind of system. So I was originally going to go with the Parenthood kitchen, but I think this grey one from Dream Home Decorator is a lot nicer. It's a little bit more modern, the style's a little bit different, and I really like this end counterpiece that's got like the little tea towel hanging on. I probably would have chosen to have maybe like a white tea towel instead of the dark grey on the black, but I still really like it. The bathroom I've gone a little bit more colourful with, because I've used the Parenthood one, and I really like the blue swatch, the dark blue swatch with the Parenthood counters. I don't know why, but that's kind of like my go-to counter colour when I use that one. I did change the windows slightly on the back that you just saw, so they are at a slightly different height to the rest of the windows, but it's on the back. I thought you can't really tell, but I wanted them to fit in under the counters, and those larger ones didn't. Hopefully you won't look at the back too much and you won't notice. So I have cluttered this kitchen up quite a bit. There is one free counter. This one next to the stove is completely free, and then the other ones I've alt placed all of the decorations on them, so they worked perfectly fine when I play tested it, but you know, you can just delete them if they don't work. I tried doing this with like a little corner piece. Wanted to create like a little bar sort of area, but there wasn't really enough space in this house, so I end up deleting it, changing the floor back to all wood, and then this sofa I changed to the yellow one in this swatch, the yellow swatch in this sofa. I really like this one. I don't think I've ever used it before. Maybe in like a room build, but definitely not in like an actual build. I really like the nice kind of pastel colors that come in this one. The only thing that I kind of was wanting that I guess doesn't come in any of these packs was a table that matches. They have like the big double ones, but not like a little square one or like a, you know, small one like this. This one from the base game is slightly off in color, but it works pretty well and it matches these chairs that I've used from Parenthood too. I really like the fact that they come in that nice green swatch. I probably would have preferred to have had yellow but I really liked it, and then it kind of influenced the rest of the furnishings and the rest of the build, like the mint bedroom for example. I thought was really cute. So this one I have put a small pet bed in, and then I've put like a little toy box out in the hallway a little bit later. So it's probably good for like a small dog, but if you find room for a scratching post on a litter tray, you could probably have a cat in here too. I really enjoyed using all the curtains in this build too. I put some of these ones from Parenthood, like the sheer curtains, next to these bigger ones from Seasons, and I think they look really nice together. I did try and do the same thing in the main bedroom. However, I used the base game curtains that we got the swatch update for maybe like a month ago now, and it wasn't until I was taking screenshots that I kind of thought it was a little bit silly having them on there as well, since the curtains that I've used kind of already come with like a sheer kind of net curtain underneath, so I didn't really see the point in having two, so I do delete those a little bit later, but we haven't even got that yet. I haven't even got there yet. So I'm just finishing up doing the clutter in the kitchen. As you can see, I've gotten out quite a lot of different items and I really like the way this kitchen looks. I do kind of wish that they didn't do the weird lighting thing. These are all the same swatches, but if you look at it from like a little bit of a distance, it looks like 3 different colors. I don't really know how to fix that or why it does that in the first place. It's kind of annoying, but it is all the same counter, so maybe it was just the lighting that I had chosen, I don't know. But I really like the way that it turned out. I put a shelf up above these frying pans and then put a couple more clutter items up there too, and I think it just looks a little bit more, I don't know, I guess realistic to like a normal kitchen. Usually you have quite a lot of things up there. I've put the little plate up there from Parenthood because I thought it was cute. There are a couple of swatches that I wanted to use, but I thought that one was probably best, and a little cookie jar. I was going to put the coffee machine next to the mugs there, but it didn't really fit. It's quite kind of large and chunky, so I didn't include it, but you know, you get my idea if you wanted to add that too. So this house I have decorated for Winterfest, however there is only maybe like 3 or 4 decorations that I've included, so if you don't want to use it for Winterfest or you just want to remove those and use it as like a regular family home, then it's quite easy to do that. I've only used the tree, there's some cards on the table next to the TV, a welcome mat by the front door, and I've used the mailbox from Seasons, so you could quite easily change the swatch on that one to like a normal swatch or change the whole mailbox maybe to the base game one. So moving on to the main bedroom, I'm currently trying to figure out how to create like a wardrobe that is still functional so that you can get to this decorations box that I've put inside. I've also put like a little dresser in there, but that's not functional because it's behind a mirror. But I have put one that is kind of next to the door, that you can use. That is functional. So like I said, I really like the way that this bedroom turned out. I wasn't really sure where to put this bed at first because I put the windows over this long wall. I did try and play around with them, but in the end I go with this layout for the windows. It looks a little bit strange from the outside because this whole side wall is, you know, completely blank, but I did try and kind of disguise it a little bit with landscaping a little bit later. So this built-in section here kind of really annoyed me. I think it's because I haven't really played around with Dream Home Decorator very much that I've struggled with these like snapping counters or snapping things. When you put these long ones next to the wall, the handle on them disappears into the wall, and I really don't like that. And there isn't one that kind of faces the other way, so I had to just kind of move it all along a little bit, which then the desk didn't fit in, so I end up using this little side table like I've used near the front door. It doesn't function as a dressing table, unfortunately, but I still think it kind of gives the look that I wanted. I put a little stool here from Cats and Dogs, and this was kind of the only colour that I could come up with that matched. They didn't really have like a mint one that I wanted. But it's still, you know, it's facing out, so your Sims can still sit on it even though they can't use, you know, the little table as a dressing table. And then I've put a nice chair in front of the mirror, so it just makes it look a little bit more cozy. So these are the curtains I was talking about. As you can see, they've already got like a sheer kind of white curtain underneath the grey one, so I end up deleting the Parenthood one a little bit later because it just kind of there wasn't really much point to it. I put a nice rug under the bed, and then there's like a little like wash basket I put in the opposite corner. I think it's from Parenthood. I was going to use the base game one, but I quite liked the Parenthood one that's like completely open. If you have laundry day, you could probably change this to like a functional one if you wanted to. I really did have a hard time trying to figure out what lights to use underneath here, so I end up going with the I think it's the one that comes from the artist career or aspiration, I'm not sure. It's a reward item from the base game, and it's quite small. It just kind of tucks up under the counters or the cabinets really nicely, so you can barely even see that it's there, but it just lights it up really nice. I end up sizing down this makeup tray because it's just a little bit too big for, you know, the clutter that I wanted. And I was going to change the curtains to the dark blue so that it kind of matched in with the chair and the rug, but it made the room look a little bit darker, as you'll see when I go to change it in a second. It just made it look a little bit too enclosed and too dark, so I think the grey ones look a lot nicer. On this dresser here, I put some of these pictures that I've been doing in the last couple of my builds and just angled them slightly to make them look like, you know, tabletop pictures. I just like the way that they look. I wish we had more. I know they have added a lot more recently, but I still wish we had more. I resized them because they're just a little bit too big, and then I put a nice flower pot next to them. I think it's like the orchid one from the base game. To be honest, it's a little bit big, but I really like the colours of the flowers. I wish we had more swatches in it, but I still think it looks really nice. I was a little bit stuck with what to put above the wash bin over here. So I end up going with these keys. They don't really match anything from the base game, but I think they're small enough, you know, that they fit in the gap really nicely. And then I finished cluttering up the rest of this built-in unit. I kind of wish that I could fit them in, you know, all the way up to the ceiling, but I still think that it looks nice with these little boxes and things on the top. I also add some on the little dresser that I've put opposite to. Just a couple of these wicker unit or wicker baskets, I think they are, underneath. I wish there was 2 snapping points underneath here instead of just the one, but I still think that they look really nice there. So in here there is a full bathroom, same as upstairs. This one I kind of decorated as more of like a kid's bathroom compared to upstairs is not really as much of a kid's bathroom. I don't really know why I did it that way, but I think this one I did first. Yeah, so this one I kept with the blue swatch and used a little whale rug. I was going to use this shower swatch that comes with the little whales, but it was a little bit too dark, and this bathroom is pretty tiny. So I still wanted it to be quite like bright and look a lot bigger than it actually is, if that makes sense. So I tried to keep it quite open and airy. And then up here, I think I've used mostly the same, like the toilet, and then I go to use the same sink. However, I end up changing it to a Dream Home Decorator one, which I don't think I've ever used before, but it's very modern. I do like it. It kind of reminds me of furniture that I've seen in IKEA. But I add a couple of clutter items to the mirror and the top of the sink. Add this little I don't really know what it is. It comes with cats and dogs, and I think it's meant to be for like in the vets. It's got like cotton swabs and things in, but I think it looks really nice as like a bathroom decoration item. So I originally put just a plant pot on this side table near the entryway when I was, just kind of placing out items, but I came back and thought I would try and decorate it a little bit more since I've used quite a lot of clutter. I was trying to find something I could use as salt and pepper shakers for on this table here, and end up going with these two little debug items. I think they're meant to be chess pieces, but I sized them up and thought they just kind of were a placeholder for when we get the new items. I'm not sure when we're going to get them soon, maybe in the next week or so. So there's something that you could probably switch out if you wanted to. Up here is the child's room. I was trying to go with a kind of just bright color scheme, so it wasn't specific for a certain sim. It was just for a child. So I thought that the yellow and blue was just a really nice color scheme, and I wanted it to be very bright, child friendly. But you could also change some of these swatches if you had like a teen sim living here. And this one, I don't think this one has the little characters on the side, the little unit that I've put next to the bed. Some of them have got like a little frog on, I think, and it is really cute, but I didn't want it to be too obvious. So I put a little train around the tree down here. I think I did this maybe last year, but I thought it was really cute. I did double check that the table works and my sim could still sit in that chair, so that's cool. But yeah, I tried to clutter it up just enough to make it look lived in, but not enough so that it wasn't functional. So I don't include anything more on this desk. But obviously if you wanted to put a computer or a laptop, then there is plenty of space for that. The same as if you wanted to add another bed instead of a desk under here, they should still be able to get into the bed with no issues, So I put a mirror in this little corner here. I'm not sure why I changed it to white. I was gonna leave it as the wood swatch because it matched the bed, but for some reason I changed it, probably because this one had the pictures on it. But yeah, up here next to the bed where I've just put a painting, I eventually put a window because there was just, it looks a little bit strange from the outside. And even though this bedroom has got like the little bump out bit for the windows, I still felt like it needed another one, so I just put one up next to the bed. So finished putting the lights on and replacing this roof because where you place it off of the top of a wall, it just likes to delete every time you make any structural changes, which is very annoying. But I leave that little kind of square of room right up until the very last minute, just in case it decided to delete itself again. But we are moving on to the landscaping now. So like with all of my other builds, I try and keep it kind of as natural and wild looking as possible, while still being, looking like it could be maintainable. So I just add these, I think it's fern, I don't know, and the lavender and these bushes. I put them all around the house, but not in any kind of particular shape. So it does look a little bit kind of random, but I still think that it looks interesting. They've just kind of grown wherever they wanted to. I also go back in once I've done all these bushes and add in some flowers a little bit nearer the house. I wanted it to kind of look like they planted them there on purpose, but just let them grow wherever they wanted to. I also go back in with some trees, and I've sized them. I think I sized them with the tool mod. I'm not sure whether I just left them as like the normal in-game resizing, but I've tried to kind of cover up the bits of the build that I wasn't particularly happy with. Yeah, so I did resize them with the tool mod, like on this side of the building, for example, or where the windows don't quite line up properly. I don't know why that bothers me, but it does. So I've just tried to cover them up just a little bit. So I did landscape this to make it kind of look okay in all seasons. However, for the screenshots I have changed the weather to snow because, you know, it's meant to be Winterfest, and even though, like, for me Winterfest is in summer, I still think that it looks better in snow. Personal opinion. But yeah, the last thing that I do after the terrain paint is I add a little trim on the roof. I just felt like it was a little bit bare and I wanted something to put up there, and you know, I think it looks pretty cute. I add a couple of these grass items around just to fill in the gap really, and then some of these little rocks. So yeah, that is the end of today's video. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope you have enjoyed it, and I will see you all tomorrow for day 5. Thank you again, and bye everyone.